Hello everyone, Neve here, and I have a new deck. This is Yokai Oracle deck, and I have the book by the same author of the deck. I had this much longer. I think I've had this for at least 6 months, probably more than that. But yeah, so I got this deck first, this book first, and this deck has been on my list for a while, and I just recently got it. So what's taken me a while to get this deck, though, is that it's a little similar to my other deck here, which is the Kamito Yokai Oracle, which I'm doing a deep dive study of on my channel, doing one of these cards a month. And yeah, so like, I think part of me didn't really want to have too many yokai decks, you know? Because I can sort of feel like we're getting too much of the same thing. It's taking up too much of the same category. And as I talk, I might as well just go through this deck. So it is it's a 2-piece box. This is published by, I forget already. It was published by Adams Media. Adams Media. I don't know that one. Yeah, didn't even realize. Adams Media, yeah. So the book is really nice. It's gotten quite a few spreads, and I did try out one of these spreads recently, and then I adapted one of these. I adapted this Sacred Tree spread because it's, you know, when you have Oracle decks, like big spreads kind of feel I don't know, not right. So I adapted the Sacred Tree spread for my full moon reading that was yesterday. So I'm going to show that at some point. I only used 2 of the cards from here and then mixed it with tarot and an oracle. So yeah. Yeah, but they have got quite a few spreads in here, so that's pretty cool. And then it's got quite a bit of information on each of these yokai. And I appreciate that they have the Japanese in here. And that is probably a mod that I will do on this deck. Yeah, so pretty good. There we go. All right. Let me just pull these out and I can talk while I go through the deck. And this is also not the only deck I'll be going through in this video. I did also get 3 other decks recently from a subscriber. So these were gifts, and I'm really excited about this. And I do want to, I'm not going to do like a full walkthrough of each of these, but we'll flip through these a little bit later on. All right, so let me zoom in and we can go over these cards a little bit. So as per usual, these are not in order, because I use my deck before I do walkthroughs and stuff of them. So, yeah, and it's pretty typical, like, yokai artwork that I've become a little bit accustomed to, having now acquired multiple Japanese decks. Several of them are, that one's funny, several of them are yokai themed. And I am kind of going fast on this, just because there are other decks I want to go through. Yeah, so one of the things that I love the art of this, and I love the setup of this. I just wish that it had the Japanese on here. You know, and of course, my preference would have no English at all, but I understand that that would not be accessible for most people, and even if it just had the Japanese, I would still have to use a guidebook, very much, since my Japanese skills are still very, very limited. But this one's so cute, the cats here, Neko. Yeah, so what I'm sort of thinking I might do as a mod for this deck, I'm thinking that I will put the Japanese in like a metallic marker, like somewhere on the deck here, like somewhere that makes sense, probably in a vertical, but it's perhaps I may also do horizontal if it makes sense for the card. I'm not going to stick with just one thing for each one. I'll do what makes sense. And so having the name of the yokai in Japanese. And in the book, where was that? Where did I put that book? Okay, here we go. So we have the entry for this card right here. So I like that it has the Japanese on here, so I can put the Japanese somewhere on here. That makes sense. And I like the little message that it has here. This is it's in Japanese, and then they have a translation for it there. I as I was going through this deck, I realized I quite like the little phrases. So it's very possible I may, put the name of the yokai right here. Here, let me bring this up. Sorry. Name of the yokai in Japanese right here, and then the message right here on top of down here. So I don't know. That's what I'm sort of thinking I might do with this. Yeah, to make it just, more to my liking. I would really like the Japanese to be on the deck. Yeah. But this is, as opposed to the Kamito Yokai right here, as opposed to this one, this is a bit more accessible for English speakers and people who maybe aren't as familiar with Japanese, because this deck, let me pull out a random card here. All right, and several of these cards are in my mystery envelopes. I'll just grab a random one. Here we go. All right, so we have a card here. This just has the Japanese on here, and then how to say it in Romaji. So it's got the Japanese name there, and then how to pronounce it here. And this has just the pronunciation, and then what it means. And then it has 3 keywords, which I think is something that a lot of people would really like. But like I tend to not be one that enjoys keywords, only because sometimes I feel like it's a little too limiting. And I like titles and using my intuition on what that means. And in the case of yokai, it would be understanding the story of the yokai and then coming up with keywords and a meaning from that. And that's actually what I've been doing with my Kamito Yokai Oracle, and in my book here, decorating the pages for each of these. Let me go to one that I've done recently. So this was this yokai, which was the Ao Andon. Yeah, and then I would study the story about this yokai and write the story right there, and then give a little divination on what I think that if I pulled this card during a divinatory reading, what it would mean, and then different circumstances. So like love and relationships, occupation, schooling, spirituality, and general advice. That's kind of been what I've been doing for this, and and I have many others that I've done here. So far, because I've done one a month since the beginning of the month, so I think I've only done 7 so far. But yeah, I've really been enjoying this practice. I'm enjoying how this is turning out, and this is going to take a long time to do. This Kamito Yokai study is going to take a long time. But one of the reasons I actually got this deck, one, I already have this book here by the same author, so I kind of like the idea of having the same book, or the same deck, I mean. One thing I've noticed with my recording is, I will often confuse the words deck, book, and card. And sometimes I say deck when I mean card. Sometimes I say card when I mean deck. Sometimes I say deck when I mean book. And yeah, sorry about that. But anyway, I wanted this deck to go along with the book that I had. And from my peek through of this book, there were only like 5 yokai that were in this that were also in the Kamito Yokai. So it had lots of other yokai. So I felt like maybe it didn't overlap as much as I thought it would. So that's why I considered getting this deck. And it's, like I said, a lot more English friendly, which is actually a little bit of a deterrent for me, only because I've been learning Japanese for a few years now. So like I want to have the Japanese decks, but I think as far as yokai go, I may be done getting yokai decks, because I have now 2 full decks of yokai, and there is some overlap. Like I said, there is some overlap between the 2, but yeah, I just don't want to get too many because I feel like there's going to be more and more overlap, and also the meanings may get kind of muddled, I think, especially since the authors. So the author here, Tersa Matsura is a Japanese last name, but I think that is the married last name, because when I was reading about the author that was in here, I think this is an American woman that yeah, I think this is an American author who is perhaps married to a Japanese person, but lives in Japan, very knowledgeable. But I did have one issue. I think, yes, it's right here. So when I pulled this card for my moon reading yesterday, and I looked up the yokai in here. Let me do this to see what it said. So it's Wan Yudo, and looking at the kanji here, Wa Nyu Do, and it means fire wheels or soul takers. However, when I googled this yokai, because I was also googling the yokai that were coming up and stuff, it used a different kanji for that first one, and the kanji that it used meant wheel, and this one is a bit different, and so I'm interested perhaps to understand why this kanji was chosen for this yokai, and I may know nothing. Maybe I'm just a dum dum and know extremely little about Japanese. So there might be a reason. However, when I look up this yokai, it uses a different kanji, and perhaps this is a different way of spelling it or a different choice kanji to use, but. Yeah, in any case, it's stuff like that where it's like, and it makes me just slightly suspect on the knowledge, but then at the same time, this person's credentials seem to be very good, so who knows? And like I said, I may be the dum dum and not really know anything, so yeah, anyway, I'm also like a little frazzled because I had to pause my video because my husband texted me and I couldn't read what the text was that came up on the screen, and I did not want to have to stop my video and make another one. So I had to pause it and go figure out what it was that he needed. But yeah, anyway. So I really like the artwork in this. I like the way it's set up. I do like it makes it very usable, even if you don't know anything about yokai. Though I feel like if you're gonna get a deck that's specific to a culture, I do feel like maybe you should know at least a little bit about that culture. You know what I mean? But and not just get it because it's pretty. But I don't know. Maybe that's a dumb thing to say. Maybe you could do whatever you want. I don't know. But and I like this because this is also in the Kamito yokai, and these creatures, the Kodama, are featured in Princess Mononoke, which is my one of my favorite movies, all-time favorite movies. Yeah, so the Kodama, very cute. Yeah, so Harry marries sea spirits. That's funny. The yokai are so funny. And this makes me think of Spirited Away. Fleshy blob monsters. But yokai are so funny and silly, and that's why like the artwork isn't all like, super mystical looking. Sometimes it's really, really silly looking, like that one yokai we saw with the eye on its butt. And this is also kind of silly. But that's because yokai themselves are in general very strange. Oh, that says ramen in the back. No-faced creatures. Ooh, creepy. Yeah, and some of them are super, super scary, and some of them are super silly, and some of them are both, and it makes me think of the good people, in fairies, etc. It feels like it's a very similar type of being, But yeah, and I'm drawn to stuff like that. I'm drawn to those animistic spirits, and here's the last one, and that's creepy looking, huh? All right. And it's the cardstock is not really riffle shuffleable. I kind of been drop shuffling it, just going like that because it doesn't bend. The cardstock is a kind of cardstock it's pretty stiff. I mean, if I grab just one, it does bend a little bit, but I also feel like I'm just bending the card if I do this. They're sturdy, it's just they're stiff. So this is definitely either an overhand shuffling kind of deck or it's a drop shuffling kind of deck. Yeah. So that's how I've been using it, just kind of drop shuffling it, and it can't bridge. So before I get into some of the pairing, etc., which is not going to be a lot because I have these other decks to sort of peek through, I do want to show these decks. So I got 3 new decks. These were gifts. Yeah, and this one was actually one that was kind of on my list, or one that I was really looking at, and I'd never heard of these other two. So these are total surprises, and this one I'm quite happy about and really excited. And thank you so much. This is by Star Wheel Game Systems, and it's called the Fabled Cloudland Tarot, and this is actually a Chinese deck. So I want to show these ones first. So Portraits of a Woman, I will say this one is not exactly my style. Like, it is very pretty, and this is by who did this one? This is Lo Scarabeo, and it's, as far as I can tell from some brief looking up about this deck, as far as I can tell, it's perhaps not AI, so that's good to know. That said, the artwork is pretty samey. And it's oops, I'm just dropping everything left and right here. Yeah, so the artwork's it's a little samey. I was looking through this deck and trying to decide if the pictures really lined up with the text, and I would say for the most part, no. There's a few cards in here that does seem to line up pretty well, but most of them just seem to be portraits of women with random statements. So, yeah, I mean, it is very pretty. The cardstock's pretty nice because this actually shuffles pretty nicely. Let me just go ahead and shuffle this. So we might see some of the same cards here. Let me shuffle this here. Yeah, this does shuffle. I can shuffle that and kind of bridge. No, I mean, I did a shitty job there, but I wonder if I could side shuffle this one. Hold on, let me do one more and see. Okay, yeah, I got a bridge there. Let me side shuffle and see if that works, because they are, they're kind of oracle card sized. Yeah, that works just fine. So it shuffles lovely. Yeah, so, I mean, it's fine. It's just, this would not be a deck that I would buy on my own. It's just not really my style. I do like, the women in here are very beautiful. But, like, this one, I am happy, but, like, gosh, she does not look happy. That kind of stuff it's kind of misaligned. I'm really considering just like taking off the affirmations here at the bottom and maybe coming up with my own phrases or my own titles for these. But yeah, or or not. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide. It is nice, but I think ultimately I'm not really an affirmations kind of person. So the I am peaceful thing, or I am assertive, I think I would just want it to sit instead of I am adorable, which is an odd image to choose for this, but instead of this, I would just write adoration on here, something like that, or free on here instead of the I am statements, because it's just a little bit not really my thing, but the artwork is very pretty. The author of this, let me look it up real quick, and I'm not going to go through every single one here. The author is Riccardo Minetti, and the artist is Elisabetta Trevisan. And the artist is an actual artist, so it's It's not like an AI thing as far as I know. So cool. So I am happy that I got this from that subscriber. It's a nice gift, and I think it's probably going to be a project for me. It's probably going to be something that I just I'm sorry, I wasn't totally in frame there. That I change, because I don't like I really don't like the phrases underneath. And the art is a little samey, but I think I could work with this and try to just change the statements down here to something else that makes more sense for me. Yeah, and the guidebook is a pretty standard, typical guidebook. I mean, I didn't really look through the guidebook, so let me see this really quick. Yeah, it's got, it's fine. I'll probably discard that or just, I mean, I don't mean toss it, but like not use it is what I mean. But yeah, I feel like this is a deck I might completely change to make it usable for me. Yeah, we'll see. All right, so the other deck that I'd never heard of before was the Wild Soul Oracle cards. This one's really pretty, and I did check on this one. It does seem to be an actual artist as well. Is this an independently published book? I think it's independently published. Yes. Or it's published through an Inner Whispers product. So through the company Inner Whispers, perhaps. Anyway, I searched it up. There is an actual artist. So, and these are very cute. I like these a lot more than the woman book, or deck, whatever. You see what I mean? Where I mix up the, words for things. So this is very pretty. And the cardstock is nice. Let me go ahead and shuffle this real quick. And I can shuffle this really easily. Nice and bendy, very bendy. Nice. So it's okay quality. It's fine. It's bendy, it's fine. The dog loyalty. I like this. See, I like this kind of card better. I mean, I would have it as just the robin or just dog or just the boar, whereas other people would want just bravery, But I mean, I guess it's got a bit of both here for people who are into it. And it does have this has an interesting vibe. So it's got the kind of vectory kind of artwork here, and then drawn on it are different like motifs. We have the llama endurance. But like you see that on the rat here, rat. I was like, is this a rat or a mouse? Rat. And you can see it around the sun too. There's like, I'm not sure if the camera's picking that up, but it's just got kind of a nice little detail to it. So the hawk vision, and this is just very, very pretty. And I imagine this will go together with a lot of different decks. This is gorgeous. Yeah, I think this is a very pretty deck, and I'm really happy with this one. The wasp, anger, okay. The dolphin, joy, and these keywords do make sense with the animals. The elk, strength. This is a very, very pretty deck. So very happy about this. The crow, magic. This is excellent. Love it. Moose, authority. Yeah. So I'm just gonna quickly go through this here, because these are very pretty, and this one I'm quite happy about. Thank you. The scorpion, the wolverine, tenacity. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. So this is, like I said, the Wild Soul Oracle cards, and it's by Lila Ravenswood, which is obviously a pen name. Hopefully that's a real person. I don't know. I'll have to maybe look that up. I don't know. But this is a gift, and I'm really happy about it. And this wouldn't have been on my radar before, because I'd never heard of this. So yeah. And I think this would be a nice little addition to readings. It's a good little oracle deck. Oh, the axolotl regeneration. I like that. And it looks to be like a different, like a variety of, like body types and ethnicities, etc. They do all seem to be female presenting, I think. So the coral. Ooh, I like that one. The bison. The worm renewal. I like that. Raccoon. Oh, I'm sorry if this is not focused. There we go. I'm sorry if some of those were not focused. I guess I was a little too close to the camera and it wasn't focusing. Sorry about that. The wolf and the badger. All right. Really nice little deck. Thank you so much. I'm happy to have this, and it pairs. I was actually playing around with this with a few different decks, and it pairs very nicely with a lot of different decks. So there we go. So that is the Wild Soul Oracle cards. All right, let me move this out of the way. And then finally, we have the Fabled Cloudland Tarot, which I'm really thrilled by. I've had this deck on my list for a while. This is one of those ones that it's a Chinese deck, so it's sold a lot through those companies like Vermilion or maybe Tavada. There's other ones that I'm thinking of that I can't. The names of are not coming to me right now, but there's a few different websites that sell a lot of decks like this. So let me get around the camera so I can shuffle. And this shuffle's really nice, and you see that bright purple gilding. Hopefully it shows up purple on the camera. I do try to do a little bit of color correcting when I edit, so it's things are nice and bright and bold and saturated, etc. Sometimes I go overboard. Sorry about that. But you know, it's not, and it's also I'm limited by I'm using natural light, so I'm limited by what light comes through my window, and sometimes it washes everything out, and I have to over color correct, and sometimes it's it's too dark. But yeah. So, anyway, so this shuffle's really nice. The cardstock is on the thinner side, but it's super, super bendy. It doesn't feel like it's poor quality. It feels like it's pretty good quality. I like it. So I will, let me see if I do it like this. All right. So you saw the edging, very pretty. These are the backs. And here we go. So I sort of feel like I might use this deck for my ancestor work with my great-grandmother, my Nana, because she loved Asian motifs. She used to collect a lot of Asian decor, is what I'm trying to say. And, like, she was a white lady and, the 40s, 50s, 60s who, really didn't know much about other cultures too much. She just really liked the designs, the motifs. She had a lot of different, like, Asian themed stuff in her house. And I think, that I think that was pretty popular during a certain time. And, my mom, was in the Marine Corps, and, she went to Japan, Okinawa specifically, and, lived there for a bit. And I think, Nana liked some of the stuff she brought back from that, I think, so, she probably didn't know the difference between, or didn't really, understand the difference between, like, the different East Asian cultures. So, Chinese stuff and Japanese stuff, I feel like for her was probably a little intermingled, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but, I feel like, she would like whether I had an Asian deck or, whether I had a Chinese deck or a Japanese deck, I think she would like either one of them. And I've been kind of looking for a deck, specifically East Asian themed decks that I might want to use with Nana. And I feel like this is something that she would gravitate toward. So I might use this. And the artwork is just absolutely beautiful. And see, this is the thing that I like about Chinese decks. They'll have the Chinese on the deck and sometimes not even have the English. That's a lot more difficult when looking for Japanese decks. I find there are definitely decks out there that are all in Japanese, but they're a little harder to find. And I found from watching, Japanese tarot channels and things like that, they will often use English versions of things. So instead of using something that is completely in Japanese, oftentimes the Japanese content creators who do tarot and witchcraft type stuff, a lot of them are using mostly English decks. Again, like I said, there are some all Japanese decks out there. I'm trying to stay in a location where it's focused. Sorry. But this, I mean, some of them are pretty pippy. But I mean, the artwork on this is absolutely stunning. So I'm going to try to quickly go through this, because it is, you know, it's a lot of the same sort of artwork. So, the aces seem to be just very pippy. But yeah, anyway, like I said, the Chinese decks are a bit different. They tend to be more like, they tend to have both the Chinese and the English on the deck. And it's a lot easier finding Chinese language, like Mandarin or, you know, simplified Chinese, language decks than versus Japanese decks. So, yeah, but I mean, that was upside down. The nice thing, though, about having some Chinese decks, even though I am more well-versed in Japanese language, is that a lot of the kanji is the same. So, it might be said differently, but, like, you know, this is the Two of Wands, and I can see that is the kanji for two in both Chinese and Japanese. But there is a bit of a difference. Yeah. And also, I feel like in Japanese, they would have, focus. They would have the number first versus at the end, whereas Chinese, stay focused. Hey. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Whereas in the Chinese decks, they have the number, because this is the number for 10. They have it at the end versus at the front. So, I mean, there's little differences like that I notice. Ooh, focus. There we go. I mean, I find it more interesting than anything. I just, you know, I would like to have more Japanese tarot and Lenormand specific decks that are specifically in Japanese, and maybe not even having English on them, but, yeah, it's just a little harder to find. So let me go faster now. All right. Because I'm already half an hour into this. There we go. And I do want to do just a little bit of pairing. I mean, we have multiple decks here. We'll pair some of these together. There we go. Okay. So that was the Fabled Cloudland Tarot, and it is a Chinese deck. All right, so let me lay out a few different sample things. I also wanted to add that even though these two, this book and this deck are connected, they're by the same author, etc., they don't have the same number of yokai. So the book has 45 yokai that it discusses, and the card deck has 60. So there. I just wanted to add that in there. So I've laid out something here that I did during my full moon reading. Now this wasn't the exact spread, but it is the exact decks that I use. So if you can count, there are 4 decks here. So I have the Fabled Cloudland down here. I have the Yokai Oracle right here. I have the Seed and Sickle. This is the bag I made for it. The Seed and Sickle up here. And I have the Common Oracle from Lennox Reese. I have the Common Oracle right there. So, yeah, so this was a spread that I did for the full moon. So for me, it was with the goddess Bridget, and obviously I'm mixing some cultures here, but I do try to be thoughtful about that, though. I try not to just willy-nilly do that. I do try to be thoughtful about that sort of thing. But anyway, so how I started it off by pulling. I started off through meditation, a meditation with Bridget, and I pulled one card from the Common Oracle, and that was kind of the theme of the reading. So the everything's around this center theme. So in this particular spread, the center theme would be detach. And then through meditation, I pulled a seed and sickle card. Here we have citrus. And this is one way I was trying to use this deck, because the seed and sickle, let me grab the books here. The seed and sickle is kind of a gimmicky sort of deck. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I love the setup of it. The setup works for me because it's just a title. I mean, it does have a number, and there is some indication in the card on what it can be. We have some string wrapped around this citrus right there. But the part that's gimmicky is that it's a 2-book system, and there's like a dusk meaning and a dawn meaning, you know, and they separated it into 2 different books, which I find very obnoxious, but yeah, it is what it is. But so I do keep both of these with them, and I think I will someday do a sort of deep dive of that deck and just consolidate some meanings and basically have it have like a base meaning and then a sort of shadow and a light. I don't know if that makes sense. But with that, with the duality of this deck, with the purpose of this deck being a duality, I thought we could have a challenge yokai over here, and the more challenging aspect of this card would be reflected here with this yokai, and then we would have a helping yokai over here. So this is the yokai that's presenting the challenge of this month, and this is the yokai that's helping or providing help. Even if it's a difficult yokai, there's something about what it represents that will provide a help. I don't know if that makes sense, but and you know, using the duality of this card here, going from like basically the negatives or the shadow side of that card and the light side of the card. I don't know if that makes sense, but it made sense for me, and it actually like really worked out with my reading. And then I laid out a 5-card line here of tarot cards, and I laid them out from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. But I read it from the center out. So, and from the center, we see a nice line right here. So this is the reality. This is the message from the deity that I was connecting to, or the spirit, whatever. I was connecting to Bridget, so the deity that I was connecting to. This is that, basically the center line is her message to me. And then these 2 cards are the challenges, basically a continuation of the challenges, and these are the continuation of the help. So yeah, and what's closest to the reality right here is what's affecting this more. I hope that makes sense, but it made sense when I did the reading, and I actually really, really liked this layout. Let me lay down a few different cards here. So we'd first lay out the theme. The theme is rescue. Then pull out a seed and sickle card. We have Buttercup here. And off the top of my head, I don't know what the shadow and the shadow side and the, let me see if I can show the camera. Here we go. The shadow side and the light side would be on that. But again, I feel like I want to do an actual study of that deck. And then we have the yokai that's presenting a problem. So we have the Akoro Kamui, the giant octopus god. Akoro Kamui. And then we have the yokai that's presenting a help. Ooh, the Kodama. So harmony. And then laying out the reading here. Whoops. Sorry. Laying out the reading here. Oh, that's cute. And so we would have the center line here is really the overall message from the deity. And then we've got the trouble or the challenge cards over here and the help cards over here. So cool. And I definitely think the combination of these cards goes together really, really well. All of the coloring just, I don't know, seems to go well together. We got the cats, yay! and then the reading down here. So yeah, I mean, I think this overall was a really good combination of decks. Okay, so I just pulled out another little combination here. We have the Yokai Oracle here in the center. On either side, I have the Ukiyo, or the Floating World, Tarot. This is bag at me for it. So Floating World Tarot, it's on either side of this. And then I grabbed my deck here, the Long Week in Lenormand, available on MakePlayingCards if you're interested. And I just put a little 5-card line here at the bottom. So pretty similar to the last reading here. I just sort of threw these together. Just seeing how this looks together. So we have 2 Japanese decks. So we are sticking with the same culture here. Now, this is pretty generalized down here. They're more so like kind of alien people, honestly, my deck. And then we have my deck down here. So a addition to this reading. So I think this is a pretty cool combination. I'm not sure what I would have for the meanings of the cards here. Perhaps the center card here, the Yokai, is presenting the theme, is presenting whatever is happening here. And then we have an addition to the energy here, like adding onto the energy here with the tarot cards, and then sort of the interpretation of what's going on is a 5-card line here. Sorry, my mind is going every which way here because I'm just kind of looking at the cards. So yeah, I mean, I think this looks pretty nice. I wonder if I could switch out this and we could put in really quick. Let me shuffle a few things here. Here we go. Let's put the Wild Soul cards in here and see how this looks. I mean, this is definitely very cute, very pretty. So we have the center card there. Let's move another one here. So the butterfly, and then on either side we have 9 of Pentacles and the 6 of Swords, and then we have a reading down here at the bottom. Now now we have heavier cards here. Oh, but a nice good thing in the center. And then things moving forward here. Ooh, okay. And then we got the 6 of Swords. Ooh, I'm connecting this a little bit here. Okay. An evolution. Yeah, we do see an evolution here. I mean, the stork card would be a better to represent evolution. But moving forward here on something a bit more official, where in the past we had something that was much tougher, and in the past, but it's things that have been slowly broken down. This barrier has been slowly broken down. We have this center key, the thing that we need to then do official things to move forward. Yeah, so I mean, that actually worked out pretty good. Yeah, okay. And then we have, oh, did this not get shuffled from when I went through this? Let me just do that. Okay, so we have the dolphin here, and grab 2 from, here it is, lost the pile. The 6 of Pentacles with the 7 of Swords, and then lay out a little 5-card right here. Book, coffin, birds, interesting. Cross, ooh, garden. Okay, we got some tougher cards here. Definitely tougher information going on. Secrets coming out into the open, maybe in the public secrets, perhaps. And joy is the theme, though. So maybe it turned out is overall a good thing. I mean, it was 7 of Swords. So I mean, interesting. Yeah, just kind of reading this a little bit. This is such a pretty deck, though. Like this Wild Soul. These cards are so pretty. Anyway, so I like how this turned out. Okay, for this next combination, I'm trying something out here, but I wanted to tap into the fact that these cards have 3 keywords on them, and kind of do that thing that a lot of people do with like the Broccoli decks, the Broccoli Studios decks, that also has 3 keywords, where the keywords actually become 3 spread positions. And so now we have that here, and I have the Oracle of Many Paths here. I don't know why I picked this one. I thought maybe it could pair nicely. We'll see. And I'm also sort of thinking about it how I kind of use this deck, which is as locations along a path. So we have three cards here that represent the fear, the courage, and the strength. And courage and strength are pretty similar, but I don't know. I'm testing something out here, but I kind of want to add on top of this something else. Like we have the location and we have the connected tarot card, which this would be the Emperor probably. So I don't have that memorized with this deck because it's just based on the numbers, but they do actually connect to tarot cards. So I could read into that, the location and then the tarot card perhaps, or we can put a card on top of this. So let me see if I can find a deck that would work. Perhaps the Memento Mori? I could lay some cards down on top of this. Let's see. Like this location, we would have the Crow's Foot with us. This location, we would have the Hand of Glory, and it kind of goes off a little bit here, so it's not perfect. And then we have the Mandrake Root in this location. Perhaps, maybe I can go with a smaller deck, though. We could, of course, use the Mildred Pains, and that would be a nice small little addition here, like that. That could work. Yeah, just sort of experimenting here. Yeah, so these are basically the item or whatever we have that's here with us in these different locations that's representing fear, courage, and strength. Yeah, I mean, that could work. Oh, and one more thing. Let's see. Instead of doing cards, we could do charms of some sort. Like these are witches' runes. So runes or charms. And like you can just, off camera or whatever, or not off camera, but off to the side, go like this and then pick one for each thing. So that's for that one. This is for this one. And this is for this one. And then sort of read into that. I mean, that's kind of cool. And obviously you could use regular runes like Elder Futhark type of runes, or you can use Ogham, or I went with the witches runes for this just because Ogham is very Irish specific. That would be the which is totally fine. I could use Ogham with this as well. But yeah, I don't know. This is kind of cool actually. I kind of like this. So and that would give me a use for these witches runes that I almost never ever use. So I'm not well versed on them. I got them in a witch's moon box. But anyway, okay, so those were the 4 new decks that came in my collection. 1 I bought myself, just got this in, and 3 were a gift from a subscriber. So thank you so much for these. All right, so thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye!